They called them in one by one. Old acquaintances, former rivals, people who once tried to dismantle you, people who once thought they understood the rules of your existence. Each person entered with a subtle pretense of control, the way people pretend they are the hunters when in truth they are being watched. Cameras, microphones, recorders, not for you, for them. The investigators, the reporters, the ones desperate for a story they could frame without fear, without reckoning. But as each voice cracked, faltered, or refused entirely, something shifted. They all said the same thing, no comment. The phrase repeated like a mantra, hollow, defensive, and exposed. Eyes darted, bodies recoiled slightly, hands fidgeted behind backs, some averted gaze entirely. The room became a gallery of avoidance of unspoken confessions and thinly veiled guilt. They didn't speak because they couldn't, not because they feared consequences, but because they feared recognition. The recognition that someone had already observed them fully, and that observation wasn't forgiving. Every reporter, every interviewer, every observer in the room could feel it, the weight of absence, the gravity of avoidance. The very air shifted, tight around those who had once crossed you. Something in them recoiled, as if touching a wound that had never healed properly. They had all been warned, individually and collectively, by whispers, by subtle events, by things they couldn't categorize. But warnings had limits. Warnings fade, experiences endure. And now, when pressed, they could only look away. Some tried to construct sentences, half-measured and cautious. It wasn't personal. We didn't stop mid-sentence. Eyes flicked to the floor. Their words dissolved into stutters, into the void that only awareness of someone else's depth can produce. They couldn't lie fully, couldn't tell the story they wanted to tell, because the truth lived outside their control. The truth lived in you. The first one who tried to speak, an old colleague who once sought to humiliate you publicly, swallowed hard and muttered, "Can't." Eyes wide, hands gripping the table as if holding on to the physical world would anchor him against the internal one he refused to confront. They all understood what he meant, even if no one said it aloud. Whatever you had become, whatever had unfolded inside you, could not be reduced to anecdotes or interviews. It could not be confined within language, and they all knew it. There was a rhythm to it, subtle but unmistakable. Their hesitation, their shifting gaze, their instinctive retreat. It wasn't a fear of punishment. It wasn't a fear of law or society. It was something older, something primal. The recognition that you were not ordinary, that you had moved through moments they had only survived through luck, through calculation, through compromises they couldn't admit even to themselves. They didn't understand what they were facing, but their bodies remembered it anyway. The cameras captured silence. The microphones caught hesitation. The transcripts will show no comment. But the room will never forget. Because silence is not nothing. Silence is an echo. Silence is the trace of a force that refuses to bow to narrative. And in this room, every trace pointed to you. Someone tried to break it. We just want to understand. The words floated, empty and fragile. But understanding requires permission, and you had never granted it, not fully, not to anyone who tried to measure you, to quantify you, to dissect you. The room understood this without needing explanation. That subtle, immovable barrier that existed around you wasn't built from walls or words. It was built from the accumulation of every boundary they had once crossed, every misstep, every underestimation. It was proof, tangible yet invisible, that they had overreached before and learned nothing. And then they did something almost desperate. They began to circle, subtly, like predators measuring terrain, looking for a crack, a sliver of weakness, a sentence that would give them leverage. But the energy in the room resisted, not loudly, not dramatically, but enough that every step they took seemed heavier. Every breath they drew became aware of the weight pressing against it. Every eye, every nervous tick, every forced smile revealed that they were not in control, not of you, not of the narrative, not of themselves. A woman, someone who once tried to manipulate your decisions for her gain, said it aloud without thinking. We were told you're dangerous." Her voice was low, almost involuntary. She thought she was accusing, labeling, containing. But in truth, it was a confession, and everyone understood it. Because danger, in this context, wasn't just physical. It wasn't aggression. It was the quiet force of being untouchable by expectation. It was the slow, deliberate shift that occurs when someone's presence renders pretense meaningless. And they had all just confirmed it about you. Another one tried to argue, to frame it as exaggeration, as misinterpretation. "No, it's not like that. We didn't." They stopped again, not because you spoke, not because you moved, but because they were thinking about every failure they had faced at your hands, every plan undone, every strategy reversed, every time they believed they understood you and realized they didn't. And that realization is heavier than confrontation. It is something they cannot undo. The tension built silently, imperceptibly at first, then like a tide rising in a quiet ocean. It wasn't a crescendo of noise or panic. It was a crescendo of awareness. Each person in that room felt it differently, but all felt it. The boundary you carry is not fragile. It is not reactive. It is preemptive. It is aligned with something they cannot see, but instinctively know exists. Something that has followed you longer than any of them have noticed. Something that calibrates, observes, and decides. Something that allows you to exist untouched by the ordinary chaos they so eagerly throw into the world. And then someone, one of the most audacious, one who had once tried to humiliate you publicly in front of others, leaned forward slightly, voice shaking despite control. Who even protects you? The question hung in the air like smoke. Not a challenge, not a demand, an admission of ignorance, of awe, of recognition. And it didn't require an answer, because the truth was already visible in the space between them. Something shifts when people like that, those who once tried to control, manipulate, dismantle, face a boundary they cannot penetrate. Their eyes tell the story. Their hands betray hesitation. Their mouths struggle for words. And they are confronted by the simplest truth. They are not in charge here. Never were. And now, even asking questions confirms it. The first half of the room breaks under the weight of their own expectation. They came expecting statements. They came expecting a narrative. They came expecting control. Instead, they found observation, measurement, a presence they had never encountered and cannot reduce. And it all traces back to you. They exchange glances. A subtle panic begins to thread through the corners of their composure. Not fear in the ordinary sense, something more nuanced, something that whispers, they know they cannot predict you. They know you have moved past their categories of comprehension, and they know, without articulating it, that every attempt to define you, to contain you, to dissect you, has already failed, and yet they linger. They cannot leave, not yet, because curiosity, that relentless, foolish human trait, holds them in place. They want to understand. They crave confirmation. They need to measure what they failed to measure when it mattered most. And that is when the shift begins to take shape. It starts with posture. Someone straightens, but not out of confidence, out of instinct, as if bracing for something unseen, but undeniably present. Another adjusts their sleeves, hiding the tremble. A third exhales too slowly, too carefully, betraying the calculation behind the act. These are not the signs of people facing danger. These are the signs of people facing accountability they never prepared for. The investigators in the room notice it too. They stare at the old enemies, confused by the synchronized discomfort. They expected bitterness, arrogance, confessions, maybe even satisfaction in recounting what they did to you. But they received none of it. Instead, they saw a group of people haunted by the weight of unspoken experiences they had no intention of revisiting aloud. Then one of the interviewers leans forward and asks the simplest question possible. Why is everyone hesitating? The room freezes, not because the question is bold, not because it is piercing, but because every person who once crossed you recognizes that answering it honestly would expose the very thing they've spent years trying to bury, the moment they realized they miscalculated you beyond recovery. They stay silent for long enough that the interviewer repeats the question, this time slower, sharper. Why can none of you give a statement? Still nothing. A few eyes flick toward the exit, not to escape, but to check if the door is closed, as if the truth might slip through cracks if they're not careful. Others stare at the floor, the table, their own hands, anywhere except directly at the person questioning them. They want to speak. They genuinely do. But every sentence they form dies before it reaches their mouth. Finally, someone exhales and mutters, "You're asking us to explain something we don't fully understand." The room tilts slightly, as if the floor itself reacts. They try to clarify, but their words break in the middle. "It wasn't supposed to go like that. We thought we had it under control. We thought..." Silence cuts them off, not from fear of repercussions, but from the awareness that whatever they are about to admit will change the entire atmosphere of the room. They glance at one another again, but this time, the glances hold more weight. A silent agreement that no one wants to be the first to reveal what truly happened. And yet, all of them know what the others experienced, because they all carry the same residue. The moment they realized you are not someone to cross casually. The moment they realized you do not collapse. You do not crumble. You do not beg. You do not bend. You absorb. You adapt. You observe. And then when they least expect it, you respond with precision they never saw coming. One of them finally breaks. We all tried something at different times, for different reasons. They swallow hard. And every time, something shifted that we couldn't explain. The interviewer frowns. Shifted how? The person doesn't answer, not because they're hiding the truth, but because the truth can't be simplified into a sentence without sounding absurd. They know that if they describe what they witnessed, the sudden reversal, the unexpected resilience, the way their own actions circled back on them, it will sound like exaggeration, like paranoia, like guilt masking itself as superstition. But it wasn't superstition, it was cause and effect, except the effect was always sharper, cleaner, more decisive than they imagined. And the cause wasn't aggression or revenge. The cause was you simply refusing to be dismantled. Someone else tries explaining it differently. It's not what happened, it's how it happened. A nervous laugh from another corner. Not amusement, but disbelief at themselves. Every time we tried to step over them, things just reorganized. The interviewer lifts a brow. Reorganized? The person nods without lifting their eyes. Like the consequences rearranged themselves. Like the outcome had already been decided before we acted. But they don't mean destiny. They don't mean supernatural intervention. They mean the simple, brutal truth. You were always 10 steps ahead without announcing it. They underestimated your intelligence, your resilience, your ability to endure pressure without folding. They read you like a simple book when you were a locked vault with rotating chambers. They didn't have the tools to open. The more they speak, the more the room feels like it's closing in. Someone rubs their temples, muttering. The first time I crossed them, I thought it was over for them. A pause. But it was me who ended up losing everything I tried to take. Another nods. Same, I pushed them hard, and it circled back. Every mistake we made with them was permanent, someone else says quietly. It stayed. It didn't fade like it usually does with people. These aren't dramatic statements. They aren't exaggerations. They are admissions from people who finally realized they weren't dealing with someone fragile or predictable. They were dealing with someone built differently. Not loudly, not violently, not theatrically, but structurally, deeply, quietly. And this is what terrifies them the most. They were wrong about you in ways they can never undo. They lost access to understanding the moment they misjudged you. And now, being asked to explain what happened forces them to relive a psychological terrain they've spent years avoiding. A third interviewer, sensing the tension, shifts strategy. Listen, they say gently. We're not asking for details. We're asking for clarity. What is it about this person that none of you are willing to talk about? Every old enemy stiffens at the same time. It is almost synchronized, the way bodies respond when a thought becomes too close to articulate. One rests their elbows on their knees, staring at the floor. Another clasps their hands tightly. A third pulls their chair closer to the table. A fourth keeps glancing at the door again, as if expecting someone to enter. Finally, a voice from the far corner, low, tired, honest. You want to know the truth? Fine. None of us want to say anything because we don't want to be the reason they return to our attention. The room goes still, not because the sentence is dramatic, but because it is true. They don't fear you as a threat. They fear you as a mirror that reflects their intentions back at them with impossible accuracy. They don't want to speak because they know that speaking pulls memory into motion. And memory is the last thing they want awakened. Every recollection is a trap, a reminder of the errors they cannot undo. Every word they utter risks revealing more than they intend. And yet here they are, exposed in a room that refuses to let their avoidance go unnoticed. Someone shifts in their seat. The sound is louder than it should be, jarring, because every movement is amplified by the tension. They realize slowly that the room is no longer just a space for testimony. It has become a theater for self-exposure. And in this theater, every instinct they relied on, every clever tactic to navigate past you, collapses quietly, irrevocably. A hand rises tentatively, as if the act of lifting it could be mistaken for submission. I shouldn't be saying this, the person begins, voice tight. But you have to understand, when we dealt with them, it wasn't like dealing with anyone else. Every move we made, every strategy we thought would work, failed in ways that weren't just inconvenient. They were humiliating, subtle, surgical. unavoidable. Another shifts, eyes narrowing, voice softer, almost a whisper. They observed, always, not loudly, not like someone announcing power, just observing, learning, waiting. And when the time came, they acted not with force, but with precision. And that is what's impossible to describe. Because it's not revenge, it's inevitability. And inevitability is frightening in a way no anger could ever be. Silence settles again, heavy, tangible. They glance at one another, and for a moment, they are a collection of witnesses, not just to events that unfolded, but to their own repeated failures, their own miscalculations, their own inability to predict the unshakable force standing quietly, almost invisibly, against them. One finally leans forward, speaking fast now, words spilling because the dam of restraint is breaking. We all thought we could corner them, each of us, in different ways, different times, different methods. And every single time we tried, it failed. Not partly, not almost, completely. And worse, it reflected on us. Everything we tried to hide, everything we thought was safe, suddenly wasn't. It showed, exposed, and we couldn't stop it, because they weren't just prepared. They were untouchable in ways we didn't even have the vocabulary for. A pause, long. Everyone in the room feels it, the weight of unspoken admissions pressing down, demanding recognition. They didn't have to threaten anyone. They didn't have to intimidate. They didn't have to show force. They didn't need to do anything dramatic. They just existed. And by existing, they corrected the course of every situation we tried to manipulate. Every single one. And we knew it, deep down, but saying it out loud. The voice falters, makes it real, and none of us want to make it real. Another voice joins in, steadier this time, almost chilling in its composure. It's not that we're afraid of them in the traditional sense, it's that we're afraid of ourselves, of how little we knew, of how wrong we were. And we can't articulate it without admitting our own incompetence, the blind spots that led us here. That's what terrifies everyone who ever tried to cross them. Not the person themselves, but the reflection of what we were doing, what we thought we controlled, how easily it slipped from our hands. The interviewers exchange glances. They came here expecting drama, confession, stories of malice or revenge. Instead, they face a quiet storm of recognition, a unanimous, unspoken acknowledgement of someone they tried and failed to control, someone who existed outside their framework, someone who redefined the very rules of engagement without a single gesture of violence. And as the room absorbs this, a strange phenomenon begins. The air thickens, not with threat, not with tension, but with comprehension. The kind of understanding that arrives slowly, painfully, almost cruelly. Every old enemy recognizes that they underestimated you in ways that cannot be measured or compensated for. Every attempt to rationalize, to explain, to justify, collapses under the weight of that realization. A hand, trembling this time, finally meets the table. I can't describe it accurately. I can't say it in words that won't sound insane. But what we experienced, what we learned, it wasn't just that they reacted. It was that nothing we did ever caught them off guard. They anticipated, adapted, survived, and then, when the moment came, they acted. And the impact, the consequences, were always precise, inevitable, and inescapable. A low hum of agreement threads through the room. Not spoken, not intentional, but understood. They're all connected in this acknowledgement. Every single person who ever attempted to cross you has faced this same silent verdict. The margin for error was zero, and every misstep, no matter how minor, became permanent, etched into memory like a scar they cannot ignore. One more voice rises, the quiet, the deliberate. I thought I knew how people work. I thought I could read intentions, predict behavior, but with them, every assumption I made failed. Every instinct I trusted betrayed me. And now I see that the people who underestimated them weren't merely mistaken. We were blind. And the realization of that blindness is worse than anything else. Worse than punishment. Worse than revenge. It's the understanding that you were never in control. And control. We all crave it. A few nods. Slight. Almost imperceptible, but real. They don't speak because they cannot speak without dismantling themselves. The admission itself is a vulnerability they've avoided for years, and yet, forced into this room, confronted with the reality of your presence, they begin, haltingly, to acknowledge it. They look at one another again, and for the first time, the silence carries weight beyond fear. It carries the weight of respect, born from realization. Not admiration, not gratitude, not love. Respect. The kind that arrives after countless failures, after misjudgment, after repeated underestimation. The kind that cannot be faked, cannot be manipulated, cannot be denied. And they know, without needing confirmation, that you recognize it too. That you have always recognized it. The subtle panic, the hesitation, the carefully concealed acknowledgement of your strategic supremacy. You see it, catalog it, internalize it, and let it exist without comment. You do not need to assert dominance. You simply allow them to face their own failure. Time stretches. Each second feels longer, heavier, more acute. The investigators, the old enemies, everyone in the room feels the gravity of the moment. Because you do not demand recognition, but it is unavoidable. You do not seek control, but control exists in the way you exist. You do not enforce consequences, but they arrive naturally, meticulously, in response to actions that were misjudged, underestimated, or ignored. The first interview ends, but the effect lingers. No one in the room walks away the same. Their composure, once carefully constructed, has cracks now. Cracks that cannot be filled, because the architecture of underestimation has collapsed. And through it all, you remain silent, unshaken, almost invisible in your composure, yet entirely present in the memory of everyone who thought they could outmaneuver you. The room empties, the echoes of confessions still vibrating in the air, leaving silence, pregnant, dense, almost tangible. You do not follow, do not linger unnecessarily. You leave on your own terms, with the same quiet composure that has defined every interaction, every encounter, every unspoken lesson. And yet, the effect does not leave with you. It lingers, like a shadow that refuses to shrink in the fading light. Those who remained feel it, deep in the spine, a subtle tremor of understanding. That you are no ordinary presence, no negotiable variable, no pattern to be solved. You are the axis around which all their assumptions collapse. Out in the open, the air seems lighter, but the world itself feels subtly altered, as if reality has bent slightly to accommodate the truth they now cannot unsee. You step into the streets, into the spaces where life continues its shallow rhythms, and yet, every glance, every whisper, every hesitant pause as someone catches sight of you carries an invisible weight. You do not acknowledge it. You do not need to. Their reactions are yours to observe, catalog, and understand. Every moment becomes an extension of what they failed to grasp, a living record of miscalculation and underestimation. People move around you, unaware, unaware in the way only the oblivious can be. But you know they notice, not in the way of fear, not in the way of admiration, but in the piercing clarity that comes from recognition. That instant where comprehension collides with realization, and they understand, in the half-second before denial overtakes them, the magnitude of what they confronted, what they dismissed, and what they are powerless to resist now. And it is here, in the subtle, unspoken acknowledgement of your existence, that the true power manifests. Not through noise, not through spectacle, not through coercion, but in the simple, unwavering truth of presence. They cannot define you, cannot categorize you, cannot predict the trajectory of your actions because they are not linear. They are not governed by convenience. They are not contained within the margins they thought existed. You are outside the frame, outside the reach, outside the domain of ordinary consequence. You move deliberately, with precision, but there is no performative element in your stride. Every step is measured, every gesture intentional, but devoid of ostentation. Yet those who have attempted to cross you cannot help but measure it, analyze it, fear it, because even in absence you command attention. Their minds, trained to anticipate, to manipulate, to strategize, now twist upon themselves, attempting to decode what is intentionally undecodable. The night falls. Shadows grow long and sharp, slicing through the city like the memory of every error made in your presence, and you become both observer and participant in the unfolding of your environment. Nothing escapes you. Nothing slips past the keen edge of perception that has been honed by necessity, by challenge, by the unending series of tests imposed by those who failed to anticipate you. And in this quiet vigilance, you are untouchable, not by luck, not by circumstance, but by sheer meticulous mastery of every interaction, every choice, every movement that could ever be made against you. News travels in small, fractured waves. Whispers, rumors, careful half-statements float through the networks of those who thought themselves immune, those who thought that silence could obscure their knowledge, their complicity, their failures, but it cannot, because you do not merely act. You exist in a way that reframes reality itself. You're a standard they did not anticipate, a rule they cannot rewrite, a force whose parameters they cannot define. And they, inevitably, realize it, slowly, reluctantly, terrifyingly, but realize it nonetheless. And then the first ripple of direct confrontation begins. Not aggressive, not overt, just inquiries, cautious, probing, cloaked in polite language, innocent tones that attempt to mask the underlying tremor of fear. And each one meets the same invisible barrier. Not a wall of threat, but a wall of perception. You are present, you are aware, you are observing, and they feel it immediately, deep in the marrow, that there is no misdirection that will escape your notice, no narrative they can shape that will hold against the unflinching scrutiny they did not anticipate. Those who attempt to test the boundaries of your patience or your tolerance find themselves navigating an invisible maze whose exits are not marked. Every tactic fails subtly, almost imperceptibly, until the cumulative effect is undeniable. They feel it in the hesitation of their speech, in the inadvertent hesitation of their gestures, in the tiny shifts of posture that betray the recognition of a presence far beyond ordinary comprehension. And it is terrifying, in a way no argument, no confrontation, no threat could ever be. Because they now understand that you do not merely act in response to what is given, you act in accordance with what is necessary. You anticipate the unseen, the unspoken, the unrecognized. You operate with a precision that is invisible, almost imperceptible, but absolute. And the implications of this understanding are crushing, not merely for them, but for anyone who ever thought themselves capable of manipulating, controlling, or predicting your actions. It spreads quietly. The wordless acknowledgement that crosses through networks, corridors, and spaces where influence and power are currency. People remember their failures, remember their misjudgments, and connect the dots to a figure who is now unmistakably outside their reckoning. Every cautionary tale, every warning they ignored, every instinct they doubted, converges in a collective realization that they were never equipped to measure, to contain, to anticipate you. And the truth settles like a shadow over their plans, their schemes, their confidence. And in this quiet, unspoken dominion, you exist, not because you demanded it, not because you imposed it, but because the space, the world, and those who navigate it are compelled by the gravity of your presence. Every attempt to resist, every thought of defiance, every plan to manipulate or outmaneuver dissolves against the inevitability of what you represent. They recognize, in fragments, in half-formed thoughts, in whispers they cannot give voice to, that nothing they do will alter the reality of your control, your awareness, your inevitability. And this is where the final calculus begins, where the cumulative weight of underestimation, misjudgment, and ignored warnings reaches the tipping point. They begin to see patterns, subtle, minute, invisible to anyone untrained, unobservant, or unprepared, that you have left not as traps, not as punishments, but as statements. Statements that they will not hear, that they cannot speak aloud, that they cannot ignore. And the brilliance of it is in the subtlety, not spectacle, not aggression, not vengeance, but inevitability, precision, mastery of cause and effect in its most refined, invisible form. And as the world continues, as life moves past them and into spaces where you exist quietly, unseen but fully present, the understanding grows. Not fear in its ordinary form, not admiration in its obvious guise, but acknowledgement, recognition, respect, forged not from words, not from demands, but from the undeniable truth of their own failures reflected back in the quiet, surgical, unrelenting clarity of your presence. This is the stage where the game ends, where the narrative collapses, and where your influence, silent, invisible, complete, becomes the standard by which all subsequent actions are measured, even if the actors are unaware of it. You do not need to speak. You do not need to assert. You do not need to strike. Everything has already occurred in the architecture of perception you constructed, in the inevitable trajectory of consequences, in the quiet domination of awareness over assumption. And this is just the beginning. The echoes of what they ignored, what they underestimated, and what they failed to predict reverberate endlessly in corridors, offices, spaces where decisions are made and alliances are forged. You are both the origin and the endpoint of this influence, not because you sought control, but because control exists in your comprehension, your observation, your existence. They cannot touch it. They cannot alter it. They cannot escape it. The night stretches onward, yet the world feels different, not in grand, obvious ways, but in the small, precise shifts that only the observant notice. Conversations are clipped, tones measured, gestures guarded. People hesitate before making moves they once considered trivial. Their instincts, previously reliable, now betray them, because the invisible standard of your presence has rewritten the rules. Every action is filtered through the memory of what they witnessed, of what they underestimated, of what they failed to account for. And in this quiet dominion, you are omnipresent without being omnipotent. There is no spectacle, there is no display of force, just the unshakable certainty of your existence. And that certainty carries more weight than any argument, more influence than any threat, more consequence than any overt attack. They feel it instinctively, the weight of being confronted with someone whose actions are untouchable because their awareness is absolute, because their strategy is invisible, because their mastery is comprehensive. You move through the world, seemingly ordinary, yet nothing you touch remains ordinary. The air bends subtly around you. Conversations shift when you enter the space. Decisions falter in your absence. Allies reconsider alliances. Enemies reassess their assumptions. Every element, every interaction, every subtle adjustment in posture or timing becomes a testament to a presence that cannot be circumvented, that cannot be manipulated, that cannot be underestimated again. And still, you do not announce yourself. You do not demand recognition. You do not confront those who doubted you. The power is in what they cannot see, in what they cannot define, in the invisible architecture of your actions. Each step, each pause, each deliberate choice sends ripples through the world, ripples that bend perception, redefine expectations, and force recalibration. They are caught in your orbit, whether they recognize it or not, and every attempt to predict or control you crumbles quietly, invisibly, inevitably. In the weeks that follow, the consequences of what transpired begin to crystallize. Those who thought themselves clever, those who relied on past tactics, those who believed they could bend events to their will, find themselves faltering. Not because of overt sabotage, not because of drama, but because the underlying calculations they ignored, the warnings they dismissed, the presence they underestimated, have quietly undone their assumptions. Every plan they enact is now filtered through the unseen influence of what they cannot account for: you. And they notice it. They notice in the tiny inconsistencies, the subtle hesitations, the imperceptible misalignments in their carefully orchestrated strategies. They notice in the uncomfortable silence, in the fleeting glance, in the inexplicable sense that something essential, something dominant, something inescapable has shifted. They notice in ways they cannot name, in ways they cannot articulate, in ways they are powerless to resist. You watch it unfold without interference, not because of restraint, but because intervention is unnecessary. You are the origin of the recalibration simply by existing in a way that cannot be ignored. And their awareness of it, slow, reluctant, terrifyingly accurate, spreads like a contagion through their networks, their circles, their spaces of influence. Every whisper, every half-word, every observation that they cannot give voice to reinforces the reality they failed to grasp, that they never had the capacity to fully measure, understand, or control you. And this is the apex of the silent dominion you hold, the culmination of all interactions, all miscalculations, all attempts to predict, manipulate, or dominate. It is not violent, it is not dramatic, it is invisible, it is inevitable, and it is complete. Those who opposed you are forced into recalibration, into reconsideration, into quiet acknowledgement of a reality that they cannot name, but that they cannot ignore. And the brilliance lies in its subtlety, the quiet obliteration of expectation, without a single overt confrontation, without a single need to demonstrate power. And still the world turns. Life continues, oblivious in many spaces, aware in some. And you continue to move through it, invisible to the unobservant, unavoidable to the perceptive. Every choice, every presence, every decision is layered with the understanding of consequence, with the mastery of perception, with the invisible choreography of influence that ensures your reality is unassailable. And those who attempt to measure you, predict you, or outmaneuver you discover, slowly, painfully, that the parameters of engagement have changed forever. And then, in the quietest moments, the reflection begins. Not in mirrors, not in screens, but in the subtle awareness of others, colleagues, former opponents, casual acquaintances, distant observers who sense, without words, without proof, without articulation, that a presence has shifted the ground beneath them. The world is subtly altered, yet the alteration is precise, deliberate, absolute. It is the sum of every encounter you have had, every silence you have maintained, every observation you have quietly enacted. And in that quiet calculus, they realize finally that they were never prepared. They realize finally that every underestimation, every dismissal, every attempt to define, categorize, or control was a failure. Not because you sought to teach a lesson, but because they themselves lacked the vision to comprehend a presence that cannot be predicted. And the knowledge that they were wrong, that they were blind to your reality, that they misjudged every variable they assumed they controlled, becomes an invisible weight that follows them in every decision, every thought, every conversation. And in that weight, they find themselves constrained, not by force, not by confrontation, not by spectacle, but by the undeniable, invisible reality of what they have encountered and cannot undo. Their options, once seemingly limitless, are now filtered through the recognition of an influence they cannot measure, a mastery they cannot approach, a presence they cannot contest. And you remain, as you always have, unshaken, unannounced, unseen by the casual eye, unforgettable to the observant. Every step you take, every space you enter, every subtle gesture becomes part of an architecture they cannot name, but cannot escape. And the effect is cumulative, quiet, relentless. The ripples extend, touching lives, altering perceptions, restructuring assumptions, all without a word, without a confrontation, without a claim. And in the end, the final truth emerges that power, true power, is not about domination or aggression. It is about presence, precision, inevitability, and mastery of perception. It is about creating a reality so complete, so carefully calibrated, so invisible in its application, that resistance becomes impossible, recognition inevitable, and influence absolute. And that is the legacy you leave in every space you enter, in every mind that notices, in every world that touches you. The room may be empty now. Conversations may continue elsewhere. Decisions may be made in other corners. Lives may proceed as they always have. But the memory of your presence, the understanding of your capability, the recognition of your inevitability persists. And that persistence is the final, inescapable reality. That those who underestimated you will forever measure themselves against an invisible standard they cannot achieve. A presence they cannot predict. A force they cannot confront. You do not return to observe them. You do not follow. You do not need to. The world has recalibrated itself around an absence that is more present than any attention could ever be. And in that recalibration, in that quiet dominance, in that subtle yet absolute influence, the ultimate victory is realized. Not through drama, not through spectacle, not through threat, but through the quiet, inevitable, unstoppable reality of existence perfected, of presence mastered, of influence achieved without a single overt demand. And as the final shadows stretch, as the city breathes in its oblivion, as the world continues, one unshakable truth remains. You are untouchable. You are uncontainable. You are unseen but unavoidable. You are the axis upon which their assumptions crumble, the standard by which their failures are measured, the force they cannot resist and cannot comprehend. And in this silent dominion, in this subtle absolute mastery, the final chapter concludes, not with noise, not with confrontation, not with acknowledgement, but with inevitability, with clarity, with the quiet power of a presence that cannot be challenged, cannot be measured, cannot be ignored. The story ends not because it must, but because it cannot be otherwise. You exist, you move, you influence, and the world, the observers, the opponents, the underestimators, are forever shaped, forever altered, forever aware that they crossed someone who cannot be contained, cannot be predicted, cannot be underestimated. And in that the last truth is revealed. The greatest power is not announced. It is understood, it is felt, it is inescapable, and it is yours. Well, well, well. Listen carefully, because something heavy is circling around your energy right now, and whoever needs to hear this is going to feel this message crawl under their skin. There is someone with a military background, someone disciplined, someone who has lived inside pressure cookers that would crush regular people, who cannot stop thinking about you. The second your name hits their mind, their chest tightens, their breath shifts, their whole demeanor changes. This isn't a casual interest. This is deep-rooted, bone-level intensity that they cannot even control. And the wild part? You barely realize the effect you have on them. You don't even know what you do to this person, but trust that the reaction is real. Whoever this is, they get actual butterflies just hearing your name. It's like you activated something inside them that they didn't know existed anymore. This person stalks your socials, and not in a lighthearted way. I'm talking intentional, observant, detailed. They study your posts, your captions, your photos, your energy, your expressions. They notice the smallest shifts. They look for clues about your mood. They analyze who comments, who interacts, who tries to get close to you. And every time they see someone hovering around you, even platonically, even harmlessly, something twists in them. The jealousy is sharp, quick, and instinctive. They hate the thought of anyone else making you smile. This is someone who has spent years controlling their emotions, maintaining discipline, holding themselves together. Yet your existence pushes them to the edge of losing that control. They find you intriguing in a way they cannot rationalize. You're not just attractive, you're intoxicating to them. You trigger their curiosity, their desire, their protective instincts, their fantasies, all at once. When they think about you, it isn't some soft little crush. It's possessive, it's intense. It's the kind of pull they feel in their stomach, their throat, their mind. They feel like you're someone they could build something unshakable with. And they can't explain how they know, they just do. There's this intuitive recognition they carry, almost like they've been waiting for someone like you for years. And the moment you crossed their path, everything clicked. This person imagines spoiling you. They imagine treating you the way you should have been treated all along, buying you things, taking you out, making you feel valued. They want to show you what consistency feels like. They want to show you effort without excuses. They want to show you what it looks like when someone is genuinely all in. Because that's the energy here. Someone who's all in without you even knowing. And the reason this energy is entering your life is because you've been doing the inner work. You've been cutting people off left and right. You've stopped tolerating half-effort, bare minimum, surface-level intentions. You stopped entertaining people whose energy drags you down or drains you. You've been pulling yourself out of cycles that used to trap you. You've been respecting yourself more. And because of that shift, because you refuse to settle anymore, the universe is delivering something aligned, something higher, something that mirrors your new standards. That's why this person feels like good karma. Because they are. For so long, you tolerated people who weren't equipped to handle your depth. People who were emotionally immature. People who wanted your attention, but not your soul. People who wanted access to you without deserving you. And your spirits watched all of it. They saw the heartbreaks you swallowed. They saw the betrayals you carried. They saw the moments you kept giving chances to people who didn't earn them. And at some point, they got fed up. They nudged you. They pushed you to break patterns. They pushed you to close those doors. And when you did, that's when this shift started. That's when this military background person's energy started aligning toward you. Whoever this is, they might end up gifting you something significant, a watch, something expensive, something meaningful, something symbolic. It's not just about the item, it's about the message behind it. They want to invest in you. They want to show you that they see your value. They want to show you that you matter. But this reading isn't just about love. I'm also seeing massive breakthroughs in your career and finances. You're elevating, you're leveling up, you're stepping into a bigger, bolder version of yourself. Opportunities are opening, your creativity is firing, your work ethic is paying off. It's like everything that was stuck is now moving again. You're being rewarded on multiple levels: love, money, alignment, purpose, connection. But let's go back to this person, because their feelings for you run deeper than they show. They fantasize about you. They have thoughts you have no idea about. They replay conversations. They replay your smile. They replay the way you walk, the way you talk, the way you exist. And they get nervous around you. Not in a weak way, but in a "this person actually matters to me" way. When they think about approaching you, they freeze a little. Their mind blanks. Their confidence wavers, not because they're insecure, but because they want the moment to be perfect. They don't want to say the wrong thing. They don't want to come off too strong or too cold. They're trying to figure out how to break the ice without exposing how deeply they feel already. People like you don't come around often. Your presence hits differently. You walk into a room and people feel it. You open your mouth to speak and people lean in. You carry this energy that's not easy to replicate. You're inspiring. You're impactful. You move people without trying. And this person sees that. They see how others react to you. They see how the room changes when you're present. And it only makes them more drawn to you. They feel like meeting you wasn't random. They feel like you were meant to cross paths. They feel like you were meant to wake something inside them. And they've been looking for someone who matches them emotionally, mentally, spiritually. Someone who has standards. Someone who doesn't settle. Someone who carries themselves with class, strength, clarity. Someone who doesn't need to scream to be seen. You are that person. You've been misunderstood by many. People have judged you quickly, labeled you incorrectly, assumed you were shallow, assumed they had you figured out, until they actually got to know you and realized how wrong they were. You're not easy to decode. Your mind races faster than people can keep up with. Your thoughts aren't predictable. Your energy isn't something people can casually read. You confuse people. You intimidate people. And this person, they love that about you. They love the challenge. They love that you're not easily impressed. They love that you don't give your energy away cheaply. And let me tell you something else. You are walking karma. You leave an imprint everywhere you go. If someone treats you right, their life improves. If someone hurts you, their life falls apart. And people around you have started to notice that pattern. Your spirits don't play about you. That's why this connection is so intense, because this person is aligned with your elevation. They're not here to drain you. They're here to match you, build with you, support you, claim you in the right way. Their obsession with you, it's real. The first date, it's going to be unforgettable. They'll want to see you again immediately. They'll want to get closer. They'll want to move things forward. But they're traditional in their own way. They don't want someone who's entertaining multiple people. They don't want someone who's unsure. They're serious. They want someone who wants them back. Emotionally, you're closed off right now. You're guarded. You're cautious. You don't open up easily anymore, and for good reason. But this person, they're going to slowly open you up again. Not by force, not by game playing, just by being consistent, intentional, and genuine. They love your style. They love how you dress. They love how you carry yourself. They love your scent. They're attracted to you in every way. They admire your uniqueness. They admire your mind. They admire your energy. They brag about you. Even if you don't know it, they talk about you. They show you off without you even being around. This person is ambitious, attractive, maybe tatted, maybe well-groomed, maybe intense in their own mysterious way. And they're coming into your life sooner than you think. Few weeks, maybe a month. But the pull is strong. The timing is aligning. Your paths are converging. Your career is rising at the same time. Your creativity is opening doors. You're stepping into a new chapter financially. Some of you might even get into real estate or meet someone connected to it. Your glow-up is happening. Your transformation is unfolding. People who underestimated you are regretting everything. Lies told about you are being exposed. Your name is being cleared. Your worth is being recognized. And through all of this, this person watches you, wants you, craves you, plans for you. The moment they saw you, their mind whispered, "Who is that?" Not in a casual way, in a "I need to know this person" kind of way. They feel like you're meeting at the perfect time, aligned with their growth and your growth. They've been waiting for someone exactly like you. And they don't admit this to anyone, but they felt something shift inside them the exact moment your timelines crossed. Something sharp, something warm, something so unexpected it nearly made them stop breathing. They've walked through enough chaos, enough betrayal, enough manufactured affection to know the difference between impulse and truth. And you, without effort, without performance, without any intention of seduction, hit them with a truth they weren't prepared for. A truth that went straight through their guard like it was paper. You made them feel alive again, in a way they had quietly accepted would never happen. You stirred a hunger inside them they had locked away after years of discipline, years of duty, years of learning how to live without softness. And now that hunger refuses to quiet itself, it refuses to be rational, it refuses to step aside. Every time they think they've calmed down, your memory comes back with force. The way you move, the way you talk, the way your presence feels like something they've been deprived of for too long. You're not just attractive to them, you're a complete disruption to everything they thought they mastered emotionally. They've been trained to keep emotions in check. They've been trained to compartmentalize, to seal up every vulnerable part of themselves behind reinforced walls. They've been trained to act without hesitation and think without attachment. But you slipped through the cracks they didn't realize they still had. And what makes it worse, or better, depending on how you see it, is that you didn't even try. You didn't flirt aggressively. You didn't chase. You didn't perform. You didn't manipulate their attention like so many others attempted to. You simply existed, and that alone was enough to tilt their inner compass toward you. Something about you pulled their instincts forward, made their pulse change rhythm, made their posture adjust, as if preparing for something significant. It's almost funny. The kind of person who can walk into a room full of hardened professionals and command respect without saying a single word is the same person who freezes internally when you cross their mind. Their discipline cracks. Their practiced composure fractures. Their breath shifts without permission. You could be miles away, completely unaware of their existence, and they still feel it. That restless tightening in their stomach, that unusual warmth in their chest, that silent urgency pushing them to move closer to you, understand you, protect you, claim you. Not in a possessive or reckless way, but in a way that feels earned, deliberate, almost sacred. You're not a distraction. You're not a passing fascination. You're the one thing that makes sense to them after years of being surrounded by chaos, disguised as people. They didn't choose this feeling. It chose them. It hit them with precision. It carved itself into their awareness like a message stamped into metal. And now they can't turn it off. They don't even want to. Because for the first time, someone makes them feel something deeper than survival, deeper than duty, deeper than routine. You make them feel human again, but in a way that doesn't weaken them. Instead, it sharpens them. It makes them more focused, more intentional, more alive. You awakened a part of them they forgot existed, the part that wants connection without losing power, the part that wants closeness without losing edge, the part that wants a partner who doesn't drain them but elevates them. You became that without even trying. And the funniest part? You probably think they just see you as interesting. You probably tell yourself it's not that serious. You probably assume they barely think about you when they're gone, when they're quiet, when they're distant. But the truth is brutally different. They think about you every time their environment calms down, every time they have a moment to breathe, every time they sit in silence with their own mind. You're the thought that returns. You're the spark that interrupts the monotony. You're the pulse under their discipline. You're the softness behind their strength. And whether they want it or not, you've become the one presence they can't replicate or forget. They replay certain moments with you. The first time you looked at them without fear. The way your voice settles in their mind. The confidence you carry even when you don't realize it. They replay the way you shift your weight when you're thinking. The way you speak with a kind of quiet clarity that hits harder than loud words. They replay the moments you were unaware of your own impact. The ones where you weren't trying to impress, weren't trying to charm, weren't trying to win anyone over. Because that's the exact version of you that hit them. Authentic, unfiltered, grounded, And that version of you is rare. That version of you is dangerous in a way that makes people fall harder than they ever meant to. There's something about your presence that disarms them, not because you're weak, not because you're dependent, but because you carry yourself with a kind of intuitive intelligence they recognize immediately. You observe before you speak. You analyze before you act. You feel deeply, but don't showcase it like a performance. And this person, with all their training, all their experience, all their exposure to human behavior, they see it. They see the hidden layers you don't broadcast. They see the strength under your calm. They see the awareness behind your eyes. They see the self-protection in the way you keep your heart guarded, but still warm. And that combination, that's what destroys them. Because they've met people who were strong but emotionally closed. They've met people who were warm but lacked depth. They've met people who were intelligent but disconnected. But you carry all the qualities they never thought they'd find in a single person. Emotional depth with rational thinking, warmth with boundaries, strength with vulnerability, confidence without arrogance, curiosity without chaos. You are balanced in a way they've rarely seen. And the more they observe you, the more they realize they're in trouble. Not the dangerous kind, but the kind that rearranges your insides and makes you rethink everything you thought you mastered emotionally. They're drawn to you because you represent something they thought was extinct. Someone who makes connection feel dangerous and comforting at the same time. You make them want to open up without feeling exposed. You make them want to reveal truths without feeling weak. You make them want to step closer without feeling like they're crossing lines. You make them want more, not because they're chasing novelty, but because you feel like home disguised as mystery. They don't want to own you. They don't want to control you. They want to understand you. They want to be close to you in a way that feels earned, respectful, and unforced. And they keep imagining what it would be like to be near you more often. The kind of conversations you would have, layered, grounded, meaningful. The kind of quiet moments where presence speaks louder than words. The kind of connection where you don't have to guess intentions, because the energy speaks before the mouth does. They imagine what it would feel like to protect you, not because you're fragile, but because they feel responsible for your peace. They imagine what it would feel like to walk beside you, not ahead, not behind, but side by side, like two forces merging into something stronger. It's not obsession, it's not fantasy, it's recognition. Recognition of compatibility, recognition of timing, recognition of alignment, recognition of instinct, meeting, understanding. And the deeper truth, they're not the type to fall easily. They don't get attached quickly. They don't romanticize strangers. They don't project expectations. They don't crave attention. They don't chase validation. They've been alone long enough to be comfortable in solitude. They've experienced loss enough times to know the cost of attachment. They've trained themselves to live without emotional dependency. So the fact that you cracked through all that alone says everything. Because it means you're not just someone they noticed, you're someone they felt. Someone who hit them with a force they didn't consent to. Someone who activated instincts they buried. Someone who awakened desires they silenced. Someone who stirred memories of what connection could feel like if it was finally with the right person. And they carry these feelings quietly. They don't broadcast them. They don't confess them impulsively. They don't let people see the effect you have. They let their actions speak instead. They show up differently when it comes to you. They listen deeper. They observe more carefully. They respond more attentively. They plan with more precision. You have no idea how many decisions they make with you in mind. Decisions to be better. Decisions to be sharper. Decisions to be calmer. Decisions to be more patient. Decisions to be more intentional. They don't want to ruin whatever could grow between you. They don't want to overwhelm you. They don't want to misread your signals. So they pace themselves. They linger in the background. They prepare mentally, emotionally, energetically for the moment paths align again. You don't see the internal preparation, the way they rehearse what they'll say, the way they run scenarios in their mind, the way they anticipate what your reaction might be. You don't see how they straighten their posture when they imagine being in your presence again. You don't see the subtle discipline they practice to avoid coming off too strong. You don't see the restraint it takes not to reach out when the urge hits. You don't see how deeply they're affected by the slightest memory of you. And what's interesting is this: they're not afraid of danger. They're not afraid of loss. They're not afraid of confrontation. They're not afraid of vulnerability. But they are afraid of one thing: mishandling you. Because mishandling you would feel like mishandling something rare, something meaningful, something irreplaceable. They don't get this feeling often. They don't trust it with just anyone. So when it comes to you, they tread carefully, not because they're unsure, but because they're aware of your value. They're aware that someone like you doesn't come twice. They're aware that if they play this wrong, they won't forgive themselves for it. And every time they think about stepping back, every time they try to neutralize the intensity, every time they attempt to regain emotional control, their mind betrays them by replaying the way you looked at them, even if it was casual. That look stays with them. It loops. It lingers. It anchors itself into spaces they can't clean out. You touched them without touching them. You reached them without reaching. You changed something they didn't realize needed changing. And this feeling is growing, deeper, heavier, more unavoidable. They're trying to keep it contained, but it's not working. Their craving for you has direction now. Their intentions are sharpening. Their desire is evolving from impulse into strategy. They're starting to imagine a future version of themselves with you in it. Not fantasy, not fairy tale, but a grounded, powerful partnership where both of you operate like a force that can't be shaken. They want you in ways they're not used to wanting people. They want your voice in their day. They want your presence in their space. They want your mind intertwined with theirs. They want your energy wrapped around their routine. They want to wake up knowing you're in their life, not as a fleeting interest, not as a passing crush, but as something real, something structured, something they can invest in without hesitation. And the best part, they think you feel the pull too. They think you sense the connection even if you pretend not to. They think you notice their energy even when they stay quiet. They think your intuition is too strong not to have picked up on the undertones. And whether you admit it or not, the alignment is there. They're preparing for the moment when this tension turns into movement, when this curiosity turns into clarity, when this quiet connection turns into something undeniable. Because they're not watching you just to admire you. They're watching you to understand how to approach without losing you. They're watching you to figure out the exact pace that won't trigger your walls. They're watching you to make sure that when they come forward, they do it right. And they're getting closer to that moment. Closer to acting closer to revealing, closer to stepping into your life with intention. And you won't see it coming. You won't predict it. You won't read it ahead of time. You'll just feel it, that shift in energy, that change in their behavior, that slight but undeniable movement toward you. Because this pull between you isn't random. It's building, it's aligning, it's tightening. And part of you already knows that whatever happens next won't be small, it won't be subtle, it won't be surface level, it won't be temporary. It will be the beginning of something that neither of you has experienced before. Something bigger, deeper, sharper. And that moment is approaching, slowly, deliberately, closer than you realize. But it doesn't hit full force until what comes next. You don't realize it, but something shifted the moment they understood what you mean to them. It wasn't loud, it didn't explode, it didn't announce itself with dramatic movements. It sank deeper, right into the places they usually keep locked behind discipline and secrecy. For someone with their background, feeling this kind of pull is almost unfamiliar. They were trained to detach, to assess, to stay unemotional when it matters. Yet with you, something refuses to stay in the lines. You aren't a distraction, you're a command they cannot ignore. They have spent years controlling everything inside them, building walls so thick that nobody ever sees the truth. And yet when it comes to you, they feel a softness that both terrifies them and steadies them. It's a contradiction they've never experienced before, the way you make them quiet inside, but restless at the same time. How you make them want to open up, but also protect you from a distance. How they want to move toward you, while fighting the urge to keep the world away from you. Their attraction isn't something they display. It stays beneath the surface like a steady current, invisible to most, undeniable to them. The moment they think about you, the temperature inside them changes. Their body reacts before their mind can form sentences. Their breathing shifts. Their posture tightens. There's a sense of wanting that they know they can't hide forever. They're not used to being seen, but they know you're the one person who could look at them deeply and understand exactly what's happening. And that possibility alone is enough to unsettle them. They don't fall quickly. They don't trust easily. They don't attach without logic, intention, and purpose. But you bypassed every filter they normally apply. The moment they recognized something familiar in you, something strong, something gentle, something resilient, they realized they weren't just intrigued, they were drawn, as if meeting you wasn't random, but part of a path they kept walking without knowing where it led. This isn't the type of person who fantasizes recklessly, but when it comes to you, their mind creates projections they cannot escape. They imagine your voice in moments when they need to focus. They think about the details of your face when they should be sleeping. They replay the way you move, the way you speak, the way you look at things as if you sense more than you reveal. They don't admit this to anyone, not even to themselves fully. But the truth is clear. You've settled in places they didn't even know were empty. They feel protective of you, not in a controlling or overpowering way. It's quieter than that, more deliberate. When they think about your life, they want you to feel supported. They want you to walk through your days with a sense of peace, not tension. They want you to feel like someone is out there who cares enough to understand your moods, your patterns, your vulnerabilities. They'd never impose themselves on you, but they stay aware of the little things, how you express stress, how you hide hurt, how you push forward even when you're exhausted. They notice the strength, but they also notice the weight you carry. To them, you are not someone who just exists. You are someone who deserves to be cared for, even if you never ask for it. What they feel is deeper than attraction. It's quieter, warmer, more dangerous in its sincerity. They've met many people, and they've walked away from most without a second thought. But you left a mark, a gravity, a presence that lingers long after you leave a room. They think about you not because they want to, but because they can't help it. And the more they observe the way you exist in your world, the more they find themselves wanting to be part of it. They love how you communicate, raw, natural, without needing to impress. They love how your eyes reveal more than your words. They love how your energy settles in a room, confident but not loud, calm but not passive, intense but not chaotic. There's a maturity in you that speaks to their own. You don't drain them, you ground them. You don't overwhelm them. You connect with parts of them they keep hidden. There's a moment they keep revisiting in their mind, a moment where they heard your voice or saw your expression shift in a subtle, honest way. It wasn't dramatic, it wasn't emotional, it was real. That brief, unguarded second made them feel something they haven't felt in years. The urge to care deeply, maybe even the urge to build something with someone who feels like you. And that is where the danger lies. Because someone with their background doesn't love lightly. When they commit emotionally, they don't waver, they don't play, they don't show interest one day and disappear the next. They give fully, they show up fully, they protect fully. But to reach that point, they need clarity, clarity of feeling, clarity of connection, clarity of compatibility. And with you, that clarity grows every single time they think about you. It grows when they remember how your presence changed their mood. It grows when they recall the way you listened without judgment. It grows when they feel the pull in their chest at the thought of you smiling. But this time, it doesn't grow in repetitive structures. It grows in ways they can't systemize, in ways that bypass all the analytical patterns they use to understand themselves. It moves through them in waves, warm, steady, dangerous in its softness. They can already picture what being close to you would feel like. Not rushed, not undefined, not chaotic. Just two people who understand each other on a level that doesn't require explanations. They imagine conversations that stretch beyond surface details. They imagine you leaning into them without needing permission. They imagine being the one you trust when you're overwhelmed, the one you talk to when something is wrong, the one you call when you need grounding. They imagine your hand in theirs, not for display, but for connection. They imagine you sitting beside them, not for comfort, but for presence. They imagine hearing you breathe next to them, not for intimacy, but for calm. And they imagine protecting that connection with every part of who they are. But beneath that warmth is something more intense, something edged with danger, because they know what they're capable of. They've lived through situations most people can't even imagine. They've seen the worst sides of humanity. They've survived environments that harden a person beyond repair. So when they feel something genuine, something clean, something powerful, they hold it carefully, but fiercely. They know they could become territorial if they truly fall for you. Not possessive, not controlling, but deeply protective. The kind of protective that comes from respect, not dominance. They wouldn't interfere in your life, but they would watch, quietly, intentionally, making sure nobody manipulates you, nobody drains you, nobody disrespects you. They would never confess this, but the thought of someone hurting you brings out a version of themselves that few have ever seen. It's not rage, it's not aggression, it's precision. The way they assess a threat, the way they calculate responses, the way they neutralize problems without showing emotion. And somehow, even this instinct is softened by their feelings for you. They imagine a connection where conversations feel natural, where affection grows without pressure, where both of you feel safe, exploring the depth of what you feel. They imagine learning the little things about you, how you think, how you love, how you avoid pain, how you hide stress. They want to understand your mind, not just your presence. They want to learn what comforts you, what scares you, what inspires you. And they want to be someone who adds to your world, not complicates it. There's a moment coming, they can feel it, a moment where the distance between you shifts, a moment where you become aware of their interest, not because they confessed it, but because you feel it. The energy will change, the air will thicken, you'll look at them differently, and for the first time, you'll sense what they've been holding back. It won't be dramatic, it won't be theatrical, it will be a look, a single look that tells you everything. And when that moment arrives, they won't run, they won't retreat, they won't drown it in overthinking. They'll take a step closer, carefully, intentionally, giving you the space to decide what happens next. But make no mistake, they are ready. They've been ready since the first time your existence collided with theirs. They want you in a way that scares them. They want you in a way that steadies them. They want you in a way that feels romantic and dangerous and beautifully aligned with everything they've evolved into. And maybe, just maybe, you're beginning to feel it too. Because somewhere inside you, something shifts whenever they come to mind. Something warm, something grounding, something quietly powerful. The connection is forming from both sides, slowly but inevitably, drawing you into a space where attraction turns into understanding, and understanding turns into something deeper, something that neither of you will be able to walk away from. This isn't a confession, this isn't a plea, this is a truth unfolding in real time. They want you, not because you're easy to want, but because you're impossible to ignore. And you are slowly realizing that their presence feels like something your life has been missing, something rare, something steady, something that feels like danger wrapped in warmth.